Good morning, friends. One of the ways that we can help ourselves navigate avoidance is doing something that the same professor taught me, that taught me the avoidance pattern, was something that I use on a regular basis with clients, and it's something called the three biggest dreads. And the concept of the three biggest dreads is that when we're in avoidance, if we focus on each day the three things we dread doing the most and get those done first, it actually improves our sense of self, it reduces our avoidance, and we just get it done. Now, here's the trick. You might have three things that you dread doing that are massive. I'll tell you, I have a project that I started a few years ago, and I hit something that that became unfamiliar in the project, and so the project stalled. And I had already cut the pieces to do that, and then I had to do a lot of research on how to do it properly. And it's been 2, maybe 3 years, and this last piece isn't done yet. And so noticing, like, okay, in those dreads, how do we break those down into smaller things? And so looking at, like, what are the things that I dread that is too hard? So if you are a college student and you're dreading a paper, okay, maybe the first dread isn't write the whole paper. Maybe the first dread is find 3 research articles to support my paper. Or maybe something smaller. And it might be like, hey, write the opening paragraph or the introductory paragraph. It's been a minute since I've been in college writing a paper. But being able to break it down into reasonable bites. And then sometimes the thing is, take a shower. I know people who are depressed and traumatized that just general hygiene is a difficult, dreadful thing for them for a variety of reasons. And so the concept is you do the 3 things first. Now here's the trick. You might have something that you need to do that you don't get to schedule it. So it's not like I can wake up and just go ahead and do that presentation I have to do for work as soon as I wake up and get it over with. Maybe that's not realistic. But the thing with that, if it's something that we can't schedule on our own time, then it becomes something that we set an intention for. So for example, if I'm presenting a training at work, I can't change the schedule so it's just out of the way, even though I have that anticipatory anxiety, which is pretty normal. But I can say, I'll make sure my PowerPoint's prepared. I'll print out the handouts. I'll make sure I leave time for questions or whatever those intentions are for that. And then we can be ready. I had to do one of those a couple months ago and I was doing a presentation. So I got the handouts, I did the research, I did the PowerPoint or whatever I did, and everything was ready so that when I got to it, there was less dread with it. And so paying attention to what are the things each day, what are the things I'm putting off, what are the things I'm not doing that are really simple things. And some of those tasks are minimal tasks. Like, I mean, seriously, for me, a dreaded shower might be 10, 15 minutes, depending on the day. But other things are more lengthy, like the finishing this project. I think I have like 5 hours left on the project. But I could do one piece one day, one piece the next day, touch up the paint the next day, things like that, and break it into smaller bites. And what does that look like, and how do I get there? But allowing ourselves the space and grace to only do 3. Because I know a lot of people, me included, that my to-do list can get substantial, and then it gets overwhelming. And so the goal isn't to say, oh, do everything on your to-do list today while you have the energy. Well, some people have to do that, especially those with chronic illness. But prioritizing and doing a little bit of triage about what's most important today. What are the things I'm avoiding today? I got an email yesterday saying, hey, Holly, it's time to renew your license. Okay, that's an easy thing. I literally have to log in online, find my password, and pay a fee and prove I've done the CUs, which I know I've done. But oh, I'm at my computer, and then I remember that my wallet's downstairs, and then I have to go back upstairs, and then laziness kicks in, and I'm like, it's not expiring till September. I'm okay. Do you know how much easier it is just get that off my table, off my plate today? A lot. So paying attention to what are the things I'm dreading? How do I get those done first? Whether it's a difficult conversation, something you're working on, cleaning or a chore, like there are things we can do, and then it helps relieve our mental stress and our environmental stress. Because I don't know about you, but when my outside is in chaos, it affects my inside. I'll tell you, when my kid was small, she would get super cranky sometimes. And, I could chalk it up to being a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. But she would get so frustrating and so irritable. And I realized, fortunately, kind of quickly, that she would only get that way when her room was a mess. So we would go in and clean the room together and put things away. And the first thing she did is she would just run in circles around her room and be so, so happy. But she didn't know how to communicate. My room needs to be clean. It's too much for me to do by myself. I need help at 3 or 4 years old. And so being able to recognize like, oh, I actually feel better when my space is in order. And sometimes that means you put things away. Sometimes that means you throw things away. Sometimes that means you donate them or whatever that is. But recognizing some of those things and how that impacts your mood is important too. So if you notice that you sometimes tend in the avoidance pattern, the next piece is, how do I do those 3 biggest dreads? Hey, hon, we need to talk about something. Whatever that is. I hope you have a good day.